Oh, hey. I'm back, you're back, we're back. A lot of you guys were confused as to where I went. I went on a small vacation with my friends, which is why there weren't any videos this weekend. But like I said, I'm back, so we're gonna get started on the drift truck yet again. Today, what we're gonna be doing is putting the engine in it, test fitting the engine for the first time. Before we're able to put the engine in the truck, we have to cut off the stock motor mounts and do some other things, maybe move a brake line, and well, we'll find out. But the goal is to get the engine in there, measure everything, make sure it all fits, make sure the steering rack will work. If I have to get a different oil pan, I want to figure that out. Once we figure everything out, then I can go ahead and order a ton of parts. I can order the motor mounts, I can order the transmission conversion kit and the new transmission, I can order the new engine, and then once we get all that stuff, we can put it all in, and then we can have a running and driving drift truck. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess let's go ahead and get started. I'm not gonna bother putting the transmission onto the engine. We're just trying to figure out if this engine will fit in here. Really, the only concerns that we have are the little subframe thing, which we can remove and build another one. The steering shaft, which needs to go like down to where a steering rack will be, somewhere around here. Like I said, that brake line, a little sketch. And then we're probably going to remove a ton of extra stuff. Actually, we're probably gonna remove a ton of extra stuff before we get to putting the engine in. Still haven't bought a new tripod, so we're doing handheld camera still. I will say, after coming back from a vacation, I'm pretty out of it. Kinda just feel like sleeping, but that's what I should have been doing during my vacation. Okay, remove that. Now, well, I think we should still clean this up. So maybe remove that. Okay, goodbye fuel lines. And then let's go ahead and try to remove this brake line here, or not remove it, but kind of like move it over. I kind of just ended up bending it out of the way. See, that's where it used to be, that's where it is now. So that gave us a couple inches of clearance. The block should fit right here perfectly. Before it will fit there perfectly though, we have to cut off these motor mounts, because as you can tell, they're just welded to the frame. There's nothing you can do about it. And then we have to cut off the sad excuse for the steering rack mounts that I made. And then we can move forward.
You're so fucking precious when you smile.
Alrighty, well, the stock motor mounts are cut out. Not the cleanest cuts, but I can clean those up with an angle grinder later on. Either way, there's a lot of room here now, so that's awesome. Honestly, I think we have to get some hooks on this engine, and then we have to put it in. I don't think there's anything else we have to worry about. Let's go ahead and try to get this engine in here. Hell yeah. Before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and swap the motor mounts, because you guys helped clarify that left means left from the driver's point of view. So right now, the motor mounts are on the wrong sides. You also helped clarify that that is an AC compressor, not a power steering pump. The power steering pump goes on the other side, but oh well. So there are a couple things that need to happen in order for the engine to sit in the right place. Right now it's a little bit too far forward. As you can tell, there's a lot of room between the intake manifold and the firewall. In order to come back more, it has to go a little bit lower. In order to go a little bit lower, the sway bar's got to be in a different place. As you might be able to tell, you can't tell at all, but pretty much the sway bar is running right there and the oil pan is sitting right on top of the sway bar. The good news is that there should be enough room between the oil pan and this little center cross member thing to put the steering rack. So I think we should be able to run with this type of oil pan, the front sump oil pan, and still work. The other thing that needs to be a little bit tweaked is all this. The clutch line right there and all the gas, the fuel lines are right next to the headers. That's obviously not safe, so we'd have to change that. For now, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this thing out, remove the sway bar, and then try to fit it yet again. Sway bar has been removed. That should be enough room for the oil pan to fit on in there and get the engine nice and low. Okay, the engine is in there a little bit better. There's a couple of awesome things I'm noticing, and there are a couple of not so awesome things I'm noticing. Let me show you guys. First of all, I love working with trucks. Their engine bays are so tall and wide that this is a huge, tall, wide V8, and look at how tiny it looks in there. And look at how freaking short it is. Like it's barely taller than the front of the hood. It's hilarious. We can actually make it go a little bit lower and a little bit farther back. If I cut off this down here, the tab for the sway bar is hitting on the passenger side of the oil pan because it sticks further that way. But as you can tell, the headers barely clear the frame. That's good. The valve covers cleared the brake booster with no problem, so we can still run the stock brake booster and stock master cylinder for all that stuff. That's gonna really make it so much easier. The only thing I am a little bit concerned about is the steering shaft getting down there. The headers are kind of in the way. I wanna raise the engine as high as it can possibly go, but still have the valve cover clear the brake booster. Once we do that, we might be able to fit the steering shaft down to where the steering rack will go. Besides those couple things, it's awesome. I don't know if there's gonna be enough room up front for a radiator. I think there will be because you can kind of tuck it in there, so that's good. When we go to put the engine and transmission in, we are definitely going to have to do it in two separate steps, like put the engine in and then connect the transmission to the engine, because there's no way I can get the transmission and engine down to the top of the engine bay. The engine itself barely fits, so with a transmission that's like, 4 feet long, that's never gonna work. For now, I'm going to pull the engine out yet again and go ahead and cut off that tab so we can sit it where we want to sit it. Ladies and gents, look at what we got here. I went ahead and made some motor mounts, and it's in. No, I'm just kidding. It's currently standing on some wood blocks, but it is in, and it is perfectly exactly where we want it, essentially. It's a little off. It's a little not level. As you can tell, the left is a little bit higher, but it's essentially where we want it to sit. It's pretty dang good. There's so much room up front for all the accessories. So the power steering pump, which goes right here, plenty of room. In fact, there's plenty of room for a turbo here and a turbo here, but that's later on. It's about as far back as it can go. As you can tell, the headers are a little close to the frame. It's actually kind of sitting on the suspension right there, which is why this left side is sitting higher. So I do think we have to get some custom headers. If I can get some log style headers made, it would be great. Those headers will restrict power a little bit, but it's more important for the engine to fit than for it to make an extra 10, 20 horsepower with better headers. So with a log style manifold, the steering rack will be able to go down there too. So hell yes. Look at this thing with that big old V8 peeping through. It's funny, the engine, like I said, looks pretty small in here, but it's just so good. Seeing this engine in here for the first time gives me hope. everything that I was worried about, pretty much everything I was worried about is working out just fine. So that's really awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and order all the parts that I need to order. Hopefully they'll be here in a week or two. While we wait for those parts, there are a couple things I want to do to Molly, or really only one right now. And then the coilovers for the truck are coming in this week. So we can go ahead and work in putting those in. So it's really perfect timing because I have to put those coilovers in before I get the engine mounted anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and order all the parts, and while those are being delivered, we can work on the front suspension of the truck. And once we get the front suspension in there, it can be sat on the ground and it can roll around. So it's not stuck on this lift. And I can sit in it and again, and just seeing this thing on the ground with those nice wheels is gonna be so awesome. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the truck for today. What I wanna go ahead and do now is work on the Previa. Obviously, all of you guys know that I was selling this here battle van. That guy right there. I actually did manage to sell it. However, the person who's buying it does not want any of the off-road parts on it, so we're gonna go ahead, take off the wheels and tires, and take off the winch, and then sell all those separately. So it's awesome. We're still waiting for the title for the Previa. Once I get the title in the mail from the DMV, then it's gonna be gone, and we got some cash to buy some drift truck parts. But for now, we're gonna go ahead, rip off those tires, rip off that winch, and yeah, that's that. Goodbye mud tires. Goodbye winch. Wow, I forgot how ugly this thing was without mud tires on it. Damn. Like I said, I'm really tired, so that's gonna be it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy. You did, I didn't say didn't. You did enjoy. The engine fits, so that's awesome. No problems there, maybe different headers, and then it'll be perfect. If you guys are new to the channel, consider subscribing. Otherwise, just subscribe, yeah. Go check out the gaming channel if you wanna watch some gaming videos. And that's it. I need to go chug some water because I'm dehydrated, so bye. See you later. Thanks, Audrey. Cut.